Hey everyone, this is Russell Brunson, and welcome to an insanely late night marketing secrets podcast. So, I am here, for those who are watching this on TV, I am in the car over there. You can see is Nora. It is late, insanely late. In fact, in 1 minute it'll be midnight here, and we're about to take you guys on a very special marketing secrets podcast.
So the big question is this: how are entrepreneurs like us, who didn't cheat and take on venture capital, who are spending money from our own pockets, how do we market in a way that lets us get our products and our services and the things that we believe in out to the world and yet still remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Russell Brunson, and welcome to Marketing Secrets.
All right, everybody, so hope you guys are doing amazing. So right now, my little baby Nora and I are on a mission. It's a secret mission to get her to hopefully fall asleep. We started weaning her off the bottle about a week ago before our family vacation, so that would be so much nicer to not have to have bottles on this trip. That was the good idea, huh, Nora? But what we did think about was the fact that she's insane, and now she won't go to bed at all. And so she won't take naps, and so her naps happen where she finally passes out. So today, basically, we got back from the lake. We're on a family vacation. I went on a lake, and we had a really good time. And then she wouldn't fall asleep, and we were driving back and forth. And finally, we had to go to the store to buy something for dinner tonight. When I was coming back, she passed out, and she slept for like 3 hours because she was so beat. And then she woke up, and now she won't go back to bed. So this is the second night in a row. Last night I was also out driving until about midnight. Actually 12:30 she fell asleep last night. So it's 12 o'clock right now. So hopefully in less than 30 minutes she will be asleep. But I am on vacation having a good time. And if you listen to my last Marketing Secrets podcast, I talked about how vacations can be really tough for entrepreneurs because I feel like we're moving. There's no momentum. We're kind of just stuck in this spot. And so that's somewhere that I definitely feel. And as much fun as vacation is, it's also hard for me because I'm just I got stuff to do, people to see, places to go, and actually it was interesting as I was packing the car when I was about to leave. Between hiking stuff in and out to the car and everything, I was just checking Facebook, and it's interesting. There was a friend who I don't think I've seen him. I think the last time we talked, honestly, was in elementary school. I remember 6th grade. It's kind of a funny story. 6th grade, we were moving these big, huge boxes, and I remember he had this big, huge box, and he dropped it. And I don't know why I vividly remember this, but I remember him saying he was super embarrassed that he dropped this box of stuff, and he was saying, someday this is going to be one of those things people remember me by. Remember that one day you dropped this huge box? And I remember thinking that was really, really interesting. And now, it's 30 years later, and I remember that day. It's kind of funny. But anyway, I remember he was in junior high with me in high school, but he was a basketball player, I was a wrestler, so we didn't really cross the paths a lot, but I knew who he was, and grew up in elementary school, and always had respect for him and everything. And when the Book of Faces came out, Zuckerberg, it was kind of fun because you go back and you start remembering all your high school, junior high, and elementary school friends and people from wrestling and all these aspects of your life, and you start adding them on Facebook, And so he was one of the names that popped up years ago, and I added him and then hadn't thought much more about it. And every once in a while I saw posts from him, so I kind of knew a little bit what he was doing, but not a lot. Just kind of knew that he shifted, his job or his business, his career a couple times, and it didn't seem like he was having a lot of success. And I remember, it seemed like it was last Christmas or something, he posted something really, really negative, and I was just I felt bad for him. But it's also one of those things that, it's one of those weird things. When I first started my business and started learning about entrepreneurship and started learning how to sell things, and all this world became open to me. I remember at first I wanted to kind of share with everybody, and I did. I tried to share with my friends, my family members, people at church, my everyone I bumped into. I was so excited. I might try to tell this thing that I learned how you can, and I was just so excited. I would share with every single person, and it was so mind-blowing to me, as most people just oh, cool, yeah, it's nice. And I'm no, you don't understand. It's not just nice. And it was so frustrating to me. And but it's just funny because like that was like I always tried to change everybody and save them and help them because I thought like that was what I was supposed to do. And after a couple of years, I realized that most of the people, actually none of the people I ever tried to help ever did anything with it. It was really depressing to me. So that's when I shifted back and started doing the business for a long time. And I think I got into coaching because I wanted to share it, and it was cool when I started coaching people because it was like people that would come or people who it was their idea first, and they came to me to learn how to do it. And like those people I could mold and I could like help and I could change because they had the desire first, right? And so it's because I've been very cautious in the last probably decade of my life, going out of my way to talk to people about the stuff unless they've raised the hand first, right? And so I saw him last December say something, and I was just like, it's not really my spot to say anything, so I didn't say anything. And then anyway, as we were leaving, I was just scrolling through Facebook, get packing the cars, and so I'm sneaking out. Do what you do with phones. And I look at the phone real quick and I see this post from him. It was this long post. It was again kind of negative thing. He was talking about how much he was struggling and like trying to make money and like all these things. And I think he said that this last year he made $25,000 and all that, and that was what he made the entire year. And he was really struggling, and he was trying to like better things for his family and for his life and for his wife and for like all these things, but just couldn't figure it out. And he was just frustrated, and he was just kind of venting. How you doing, Nora? She's so cute back there. Anyway, she falls asleep soon. Anyway, and I felt for him, and I was just like, God, do I say something? Do I not? And for whatever reason, I decided to just kind of reach out to him. And I was just like, hey man, like the problem. I'm like, we've been talking like 20 plus years. I don't even know if you remember who I am, but like the problem is like you're not focusing on the right thing. And he wrote, and I was like, I can help you, but like, saying like I don't want to kind of intrude, like certainly not my business, but like, I can help you. Like I know what's wrong. Like it's an easy fix. I was like, in the last year and a half, 2 years, we've helped. I've been able to coach over almost 200 people now to become a millionaire, and thousands, tens of thousands of people to make $100,000 and more in a year. So it's like I know the game. Like I know what it takes and what it doesn't take, and all those kind of things. I was like, at the same time, like, I don't want to be that guy who's like, it's like, and I said something like that, and then my next post was like, I wish I could read right now. I was like, and I'm not trying to pitch you on some MLM. Like that's not my. I honestly just like, if you want help, I can help you because I know what's wrong. And he was like, really? He's like, yeah, I want to know. And so I kind of told him, I told him a couple things, and I said that if you do those things, and I'll record a podcast for you while I'm on my trip, kind of going into more detail. And so for the last like 3 days, I keep thinking about that. I'm excited. So that's what I'm actually doing right now. And I hope it's a benefit for all of you guys. Because I think for most people that are stuck, like it's not something that's unique to you. It's not. A lot of times we think like our situation is unique, and it's not. It's a pattern. It's a pattern that happens over and over and over again. And the key to like breaking patterns is recognizing them and then like realizing what the correct pattern is and then replacing it. So it's like it's not hard. It's just it's hard because it's the first time most people have gone through it personally. And so it's like anyway. So that's kind of the context. And so I just want to share kind of this message is really for him. I'm not going to go super specific, but I think it'll be helpful for everybody. And I know that typical people I talk to on this podcast are people who are entrepreneurs already. And this is kind of, I guess, for someone who's on that line between like the job maybe and the entrepreneur, like that line, right? Where it's like you're not fully like, I'm an entrepreneur running this way, but you're struggling at the job thing and you're kind of in between. That's what this podcast is for. It's like, I hope it kind of helps. All right, so with that said, I'm gonna jump into this. So the first thing that I kind of told him in this message, I said, all right, first thing is you're focusing on the wrong thing. And he's like, well, I've been focusing on like perfecting my craft, and just kind of some perspective. He's the industry he's going into is like film, so he's trying to do movies and videos and all that kind of stuff, right? So he's like, well, I'm focusing on getting better at my craft, and I'm also doing a lot of networking. I was like, okay, yeah, so you were completely focusing on the wrong two things. You were focusing on things to help you get better at your thing, but I was like, you have to shift your focus to making money. And that's a weird concept, because like it's something like, I remember the first time I had that epiphany of like, I need to learn how to make money. I was in school and I'm learning all this crap, and I'm looking at this stuff, I'm studying, and I was like, I'm not actually learning how to make money. I still remember like one of my biggest gripes with college is I took 2 semesters of accounting and 2 semesters of finance, and they never once taught you how to do your own taxes, which is insane. Insane! School sucks. Anyway, throw that out there for those who were wondering my thoughts about the whole thing. But it's crazy, like the fact that they don't teach you that thing, right? And I realized, like I'm not learning how to make money here in school. And as I started studying like how to make money, it was interesting how different it was, right? Like it's not what you're learning in school. And now, fast forward, I think it's been, it'll be my 15-year anniversary in like a month from now, and we got married the year left of school, so like 14 years, whatever, I've been graduated from school. So kind of looking back on it now from this side. Sorry, I thought I was waiting for a stop sign. There's no, or the stoplight. There's no stoplight. There's a stop sign. Little Nora's still awake. Anyway, so as looking at it now from this lens and looking back, it's interesting. Like a lot of times we want something, right? Like I remember growing up, you always hear your parents and people say like, hey, you got to get a good job so you can, or you got to go to school so you can get a good education so you can make good money, right? Yeah, like we all hear that. Like that's like a thing that parents say a lot, right? And so we assume that like those two things coincide, like good job, good education equals more money, but not necessarily. Like now that I look at it again from my perspective, 14, 15 years later, it's interesting. So I was thinking about this a lot of the last 2 or 3 days, especially. Like, if you want to look at like the structure of how people make money, because there's definitely like there's places you make money, and there's places you don't, and most places we're focusing on. Like when he said like I'm focusing on getting better at my skills and networking, like he's focusing on something that's good, but it's not making money. Okay, and so I'm gonna start at the top. So the top is like a pure entrepreneur, right? So on the top of a business, like a hierarchy chart, right? So boom, the top is like the entrepreneur who starts the business, right? And typically, at least the entrepreneurs I like to work with, they're entrepreneurs who are passionate about something, but they're mostly passionate, not just about that thing, but they're passionate about getting that thing out to people, right? That's what defines an entrepreneur. Okay, if any of you guys have read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, he talks about what happens with a lot of people is that they think they're entrepreneurs, right? Like they get a job at a bakery shop and they start baking cakes, and they see the dude who owns the bakery shop and they're like, this guy's an idiot, I can do better than him. And then what Michael Gerber says is that they have an entrepreneurial seizure and then they think, I'm smarter than this person, I'm going to start my own bakery. So they start their own bakery. He said the problem is that they're not an actual entrepreneur, they're a technician. So there's somebody who's in the business who's doing it, right? Like they're making the bread, they're making the cakes, they're making the stuff, and so, but they look at the entrepreneur who they think is an idiot, and so they say, they have the entrepreneurial seizure, and then they decide they want to become an entrepreneur, and then what happens, they start their own business, and they're like, I can make bread better than anybody else, or whatever, I can make cakes, and they're passionate about the thing, and they create this business, and what happens to this business? It fails. Guess what? It's like whatever 90+% failure rate of businesses is because it's technicians, it's people who think that the key is the thing. Okay, they think that the cake is what runs the business. Okay? They're passionate about the cake, about the creation of the cake. They understand like that's not the business. The entrepreneur's job is to be passionate about getting the cake out to as many people as possible. That's where the money's at, right? And so that's why most businesses fail, because it's not an actual entrepreneur running it. It's someone who had an entrepreneurial seizure and is a technician who's trying to do that thing and thinks that they should start a business because of it. Okay, so my first question for you, for everyone listening to this, is like, are you the entrepreneur? And now, the good news is we go deeper into this. Holy cow, the deer just crossed the path. There are ways to make money not as an entrepreneur in a business, but it's not where you probably think that they are. A lot of people think that, anyway, like I'm just thinking, for example, like the doctor, right? Like doctors make good money. People like how many times do you hear like you have to become a doctor to make good money, or a dentist to become good money, right? So like those people make good money, but not like there's no limit to your income money, right? Because a doctor is a technician, right? They just happen to be a highly paid technician because a lot of schooling and things go into it. Plus, but they're still a technician, right? They're not an entrepreneur. They have a definite cap on their income growth always. And so, just depending on what technician you pick, if, let's say you're going into a company to get a job, like you're capped by the earning potential of that role you take on, right? If you're a doctor, if you're a dentist, if you're a baker, if you're a support person, if you're like whatever, like you're capped at like whatever that thing is, which is fine. It's just knowing that like that's where you're kind of capped at, right? If you want no cap, the first spot you gotta look is being an entrepreneur. But to be an entrepreneur, you have to understand it's not being passionate about the creation of the thing, it's being passionate about the selling of the thing. Okay, there's a big reason why I wrote the Expert Secrets book, and because typically experts who are really passionate about their topic are also passionate about getting the topic out. Okay, by definition, they're entrepreneurs because they're trying to get the message out about that thing, right? They own the bakery, they made the cake, but they're more excited about telling people about the cake. Like that's what makes them successful entrepreneurs typically. That's why I love working with experts. Okay, all right. So there's the top of the. Flip this car around. I'm getting out in no man's land now. So that's the top of this, I don't know what you call it, pyramid scheme of business. I don't know if you would call it that, but the entrepreneur is the top, right? And that's almost what we look at, is like the entrepreneur is the person who makes all the money. But they also the people that's to risk all of everything, right? And so entrepreneurship is like a scary thing because like you have the no earning potential at the top, but you also the one who like all the risk is on your back. And for a lot of people, you can't just go out there and become the entrepreneur immediately, especially if you have a wife and kids and things like that, okay? Because you have to have security. And so like there's this huge draw with people who have entrepreneurial desires, but they also have these security needs between their family. And so it's like that's a hard thing to go and gamble and just jump in like, I'm gonna become the entrepreneur. And so I understand that. So a lot of times like the entrepreneur is not the first place for people. Like I feel super blessed. I started my entrepreneurial journey about the time I met my wife, and I was able to do a lot of things because she was supporting me. I was going to school. We didn't have kids. We didn't have we didn't have this need for security at the point that I was getting started, which I'm so grateful for. I have so much respect for those who step into the entrepreneurial role when they have all those things because it's so much harder. So it's always easier to start being an entrepreneur and risking everything when you don't have wife and kids and things, right? And so that's kind of one thing. So, but that's one spot, okay? So again, there's different places to make money in companies. So there's the best spot, right? Maybe not the best spot. That's one spot, is the entrepreneur at the top, right? All right, so that's number one. Then underneath the entrepreneur, inside of an organization, there's got to be the technicians. There's got to be people doing the thing, right? There's got to be people baking the cakes. There's got to be people like cleaning the teeth. There's got to be people cutting the people open. Okay, the technicians, right? And so technicians, this is what schooling is actually like. The only reason why school is actually good is because it creates technicians, right? So if you want to become a doctor, you have to go to school. If you want to be able to drill teeth, you got to go to school. If you want to become a baker, if you want to become a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, I don't even know, any profession. Oh, another deer just ran by. I want to hit a deer. That would be scary. But any profession, there's like, that's what schooling's for. And so when you're going into school, you're looking at that, you're saying, okay, like any major you decide to go after, like there's kind of an associated salary range that you're going to fit into, right? And sometimes it's big, like doctors make good money, but like you're always capped. Like a technician will always be capped by definition of what they are. Okay, like you are like, and so if you're coming into a business and you're like, I'm a technician looking at this, like you're capped, like your salary is capped. Okay, so my friend who's doing video stuff, like he's looking for jobs in a business that are this. He's a technician, right? So again, he was saying in his post, like he made $25,000 last year. It's like, well, the reason why is because the need that you are fitting inside of whatever company you're trying to plug into, like that's what they got budgeted for that. And so that's what you're able to make. Like you're capped. You can't go above that, right? Unless you work more hours, more days, or somebody just find another company that has a bigger budget. So like that's another thing. And and again, there's nothing wrong with the technician. Just understanding like that there's a salary that's set for that thing. There's a budget set, and like, and that's what happens, right? The goal of a business is not to make the technicians rich. I had a finance teacher at Boise State. I'll tell you what, like most teachers I had in school were always like, what's the job of a business? Like, oh, to create jobs and to stimulate the economy, and like they always had this like happy-go-lucky tree-hugging attitude about business, right? And I had this one finance teacher said the only goal of a business is to make the owners money. That's it. If the entrepreneur, the owner, is not making money, the board of directors, whoever running it, if they're not making money, business dies. Like, that's the only purpose and only point of a business, is to make the entrepreneur money. Like, everyone's got to understand that. If you use a technician, there is no desire for anybody if you make more money than what your set salary is. Now, you're going to find entrepreneurs, and like in my company, I'm very compassionate towards people, and I love what they do, and I like creating things without ceilings for people, and like having incentive plans, stuff like that. But for the most part, like you're kind of like, as a technician, you're in that range. So you understand, like, if you're going to school, like, that's the earning range you're going to be in. Are you okay with that? And if you are, then cool, go for it, and that's awesome. But don't complain later when you come back and like, I'm not making what I want. It's like, well, you picked a profession, you're a technician, you picked this piece, and that's all it's worth. It doesn't matter how much school you went to, how much time and effort you put into it, like that's what that task is worth to the entrepreneur. So you gotta understand that. Okay, so technicians, but they're essential to a business, and they need to be there. And that's what colleges and universities and programs are all created to create those people. Okay, those people are important. But again, that's kind of the pros and the cons of that. Now, guys, look at this. Flip it over. She's asleep. Woohoo! It's 12:19, so it's a good sign. This podcast might not be 3 hours long now that she's asleep. Otherwise, it could have been a really long one. Anyway, all right, so there you go. Entrepreneur, unlimited potential, tons of risk, and the role, the reason why an entrepreneur is successful is because they're passionate about the selling of the thing, getting the message out, not just the message, right? Not just passionate about baking cakes, they're passionate about getting cakes into as many people's mouths as possible because they're obsessed with the end product, right? That's the difference. Okay, there's entrepreneurs. Number 2 level down in this pyramid is the technicians, who are the ones doing the jobs to make this whole thing happen. Super essential, but have huge earning caps. And depending on what technician role you pick, depends on your earning cap. Okay, now there's one more spot. And this is the spot I want everybody to understand, because this is the other spot inside of a company where you have no earning potential. Excuse me, I said it wrong. You have no earning ceilings. You have unlimited earning potential. Scratch that, could have been really bad and messed up the whole thing. You have unlimited earning potential. Literally, the sky is the limit. And that last piece, so we have entrepreneurs, we have technicians, and then the third are the rainmakers. They're people that make it rain. They're people that bring leads and money into the business. They're the rainmakers. Now, entrepreneurs love rainmakers. Why? Because they make it rain. You guys understand that? Like that's the secret sauce. Now, most technicians don't understand that, because all they know is like, I went to school to learn this thing, to do this task, and they do it, and they go in and they do it. Okay? But the person that get rewarded the most outside of the entrepreneur of the company are the rainmakers. And typically, in most, not, I don't know most, but like a lot of the businesses that I own, that I'm involved with, the rainmakers a lot of times are entrepreneurs who maybe if they would have started their entrepreneur journey 10 years earlier, like they would have been the entrepreneur in the business, but for whatever reason they're not. And it's okay, because like they can have, a lot of times call them entrepreneurs, like in their role in the company, like they have the ability to grow and expand as much as they want, okay? Because they're rainmakers. So what do? They make it rain. They bring in customers and they make money, right? They bring money into the company. So if you look at this from an outside perspective, like if you were to sum this up like in college terms, it's like marketing and sales. Marketing brings people in, sales takes their money, right? Like that's kind of what it is, right? And it's funny because I don't know what it was, even like most technicians, like if you go to school and you tell someone you want to be a salesperson, what like the viewpoint, or even like marketing, I'm in marketing or I'm in sales, the technicians are the ones who are always like look down on you, like, oh well, I'm a doctor, like, oh well, I'm a blah, like they look down on the rainmakers because they think it's like a sub, I don't know, whatever it is, they think it's like not as good or not as dignified or whatever. What they understand is like the rainmakers make the money. Okay, it is the most dignified, most important position in the entire company. Without the rainmakers, the technician has no job. Okay, without someone bringing people into your business and then getting the money from those people, there's nobody then to be a technician too. You make as many cakes as you want, but if some dude did not bring those people into the store and take their money, then they're not going to buy a cake. Okay, is the most important role in the business, outside the entrepreneur who sets up initial risk to get it going, right? And so even though the technicians talk down on us, marketing and salespeople, it happens to be the most important role in every single business, okay? You can tell when businesses are stupid when the recessions come and they cut their marketing teams, they cut their sales teams. It's insane to me. I had a chance in my life to live through one of the recessions, the 2008 thingamadoo, and I had a bunch of friends who were like in marketing jobs, and they were making it rain for a company, and the company started struggling, so they cut the marketing, and I'm like, you're insane, you're not, like, cut the technicians, they don't do anything, like don't cut the blood coming into your company. Like, marketing and sales is the blood, it is the rain, like, the rainmakers are the key. Okay, so rainmakers, they don't have a ceiling, okay, in most businesses nowadays, okay, especially if you become good at it, and not like a little bit good, but really good. You can come to a company and say, look, I can bring in unlimited leads for you. Guess what they're going to do? They will give you anything you want. That's all companies need. They need leads. The other thing they need sales, okay? They need to take those leads and turn them into cash. They turn them into money, okay? That's how the entrepreneur gets paid. That's how technicians get paid, is by the rainmakers bringing people in, taking their money. Like, that's it. We can try to be romantic about it, but that is it, you guys. Like, and so you have to understand, like, if you want to be wealthy, and I'm not talking about like making a good income as a technician, because you can do that. You got to go to school. That sucks. If you want to become wealthy, become rich, you want to make a lot of money, you have to shift your focus from becoming good at being a technician to shifting your focus to understanding how to make it rain. Okay, if you can make it rain in a business, you are infinitely valuable. Okay, as a technician, you're only valuable as that task is to the person, to the company, right? Okay, and they know, they got a budget for it, okay? So there you go. So like, if you're working at a company, you're like, hey, I do video, then guess what? They have a budget for that. Like, cool, we pay video guys $3 an hour, $12 an hour, whatever that is, right? $20 an hour, okay? For my friend, like, the companies you're working for, they budget 25 grand, so that's all the money you're able to get because you're a video person, right? You're a commodity. That's the other problem about technicians, is they're commodities. You understand that? Like, it was funny, I was talking to my sister the other day here at our family vacation or whatever, and she teaches piano lessons, and I love my sister. She's, like, honestly probably my top 3 favorite people on planet Earth. And anyway, and she teaches piano, and she's like, oh, I'm so busy I can't keep up with anything. I said, well, we should double your prices. She's like, I can't double my prices. I'm like, why not? She's like, a couple things. First off, like, if I double my price, I'll lose half my people. I'm like, okay, well, you lose half your people, you double the money, it means you get double the free time, you make the same amount of money. She's like, well, I can't do that because, you know, that's like the set price what people charge for piano lessons where I live, so if I raise my price, it'll just go to somebody else. And that's like, because you're a commodity. I was like, guess how much people pay for, like, marketing consulting advice? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, neither do I, but I know that, like, I don't look at what everybody else charges and charge the same thing. Like, I charge the most I possibly can. For example, the other day we had somebody who contacted our office and they wanted to do a one-day consult with me, and I was like, I don't have time for a one-day consult. And they're like, well, how much would it cost? And so I told Brent on my team, I was like, tell them it's $100 grand, and they can do 8 hours, but they have to come to Boise, and I'm going home at 5 o'clock at night to go get my kids. And he was like, he kind of laughed because he knew, like, they wouldn't say yes to that, right? And then he went and pitched it to him, and he came back like 5 minutes later. He's like, they said yes. And I was like, there you go. Wanna know why? Because I'm not a commodity. When you are a video person, you're a commodity. When you are any type of technician, you are a commodity, okay? You are a doctor, you are still a commodity, because guess what? Another doctor comes along and he's better than you, less expensive than you, whatever. Like, they can replace you with the other person because you are a commodity, okay? The rainmakers are not commodities. Like, that's, we have to understand, okay? The rainmakers are unique, okay? Because they understand something that they can't just learn in school, all right? They know how to get, and especially in school, because there's no school that I know of yet that teaches a marketing program that actually is good, okay? So there you go. So if you're in school trying to become a rainmaker, like, you should drop out today. If you want to be a technician, stick in school. You want to be a rainmaker, it's time to leave, okay? Other than, if you're in school, like, honestly, if you're trying to do a sport, that's why I was in school, like, do that. If you're trying to get find a beautiful spouse, like, school's a great place to meet great looking women and probably good looking men, I got no idea, but like that's a good spot to be a technician, or excuse me, to be in school. But just till you find your spouse, then leave. Like, it's time to go. If you want to make it rain, it's time to go, okay? The rainmakers are the ones that are not a commodity, okay? there's no cost associated. Like, people don't budget that out because they're like, I don't know, like, okay, how would you, like, if I came to a company, I'm like, hey, all right, so I'm going to build you guys a sales funnel, and this funnel has the potential to bring you unlimited leads for forever, and, you know, make you unlimited amount of money. And like, well, how much does that cost? I'm like, well, how much do I want to charge you for? Like they can't go and price shop me. Like, how are you going to price shop me? Well, Russell Brunson charges $100,000 for a day. Like, how do you price shop that? Go to somebody else, ask Gary Vee, like, what do you cost? And he'll give you his price, but like, he's gonna teach way different than I am. Like, if you want what I got, like, I'm the only dude that's got it, right? And so you got to pay me like what I want to charge you for it. Like, I'm not a commodity, okay? Same thing, if you're a great salesperson, like, you're not a commodity, right? Like, great salespeople are rare. So if you're an amazing salesperson, you walk into any organization, say, look, hand me your leads, and I just want 20% of everything. You know, eat what I kill. I'm gonna take 20% of what I kill. And there's no business on earth that I know of that if you walked in and said, look, don't pay me a penny, just give me all your leads, I want 20% of what I kill, almost all of them will say yes to that, okay? Because you're a rainmaker, so you have no ceiling. Just go kill a whole bunch of stuff, and you get your cut, right? Same thing with the person that's making it rain, is bringing the leads in the door, okay? And so a lot of times you're like, well, Russell, I'm a video guy, or Russell, I'm whatever. I don't know how to make it rain. Like, like, right now, I'm basically, I'm a technician. Like, I'm plugged in this technician thing. I said, look, you got to start studying not how to become a technician. Like, you got to become good at your craft, okay? I agree with that. Like, you got to become obsessed with it. But you have to become good at understanding how to make money, okay? The study of making money is the key, okay? So how do I make money? Well, it's understanding, like, if you're a video person, doing video is a commodity. But if I can understand how to use video to bring in leads, it changes things. Because now I'm not a commodity. Okay, I've got a friend who charges $100,000 to make you a video, plus 10% of any money that video ever makes you. Okay, now technically he's no better than anybody else. In fact, I've got friends who would argue he's a lot worse at video than most people. But he knows how to trick that video and how to turn it into cash and bring in customers. He knows how to use it to make it rain. All right. Now, for those of you guys who are in my world, I've got some tools to help you learn how to take whatever technician skills that you have and learn how to make it rain, okay? So I told my friend, I gave him some advice. I said, I'll record you this podcast, but you got to do some things for me first. So the first thing you need to do is go back to this podcast, which initially was called Marketing in Your Car. In the first 100 episodes, there's a really cheesy jingle. The next 200 episodes, there's a less cheesy jingle, still a little cheesy, and then recently we transformed it into the Marketing Secrets podcast, which I really like that name, and the new jingle is freaking amazing. So you guys agree? So we've got that one. I said, go and listen to every episode. Start episode 1 and go through all of them. And I said, what's going to happen is you're going to immerse yourself in how to become a rainmaker. And I said, you're going to learn a bunch of random crap, and none of it's going to tie together, but it's going to get your mind immersed in this mindset. Okay? And if you don't like me or my voice, like, you can go find somebody else, but find someone who's obsessed with marketing and sales and, like, the stuff that people pay unlimited money for, and start immersing yourself, like listening to it all day, every single day, so your mind is just wrapped into the concepts, okay? And I said with geeking out and like going deep in my podcast, your mind's gonna get into it, but you're not gonna have like a blueprint, right? You're just gonna have like all these thoughts starting to go through your head. It's kind of like all over the place, and it won't be like a path, but it'll be immersion, right? And immersion is the key. Like, you gotta get your mind, like, Tony Robbins talks about this a lot, and I'm a big believer in pretty much everything Tony says, because he's a giant and he's got stage presence like nobody else, and he's amazing, and like a billion other reasons, right? But Tony's the man, and he taught me, like, immersion. If you want to learn something, don't dabble. Like, there's dabblers out there all over the place who dabble, okay? And my guess is that the things in your life that you struggled at are things you dabbled with, and things in life you excel at are things that you immerse yourself in, right? That's just how it works, right? And so if you want to learn how to make it rain, you got to immerse yourself in just the concepts of people that are making it rain, okay? So number 2, what I told my friend, I said, there's 2 books you got to read, and I shipped them out to him. So the first book is Expert Secrets, okay? Now in this business, there's 2 sides of this business. There's the art and the science, okay? The art is like how to, like, the art really is kind of like the selling and like the messaging and the positioning and all those kind of things, the storytelling and that kind of piece, right? That's the art. So I said, read the Expert Secrets book first, because that's the art. And the second, read the .com Secrets book, because that's the science. Okay, it's the art and the science to making it rain. Okay, and so when you read both those books, you're gonna learn like there's two different perspectives. You'll feel it in the book. Like one's very much like here's the structure of how, like the science of that's the .com Secrets book, the science of how this game is played, and then Expert Secrets is the art. Okay, now what a lot of people think is like I become a master at all this, and you don't. Okay, especially if you are someone who would love to be an entrepreneur, but you're whatever reason you're not able to. You want to be an entrepreneur in a company. Say, okay, I'm going to go into a company. I'm going to become an entrepreneur for a company, and then look at that and say, okay, I don't need to know all this stuff. But I got to understand it all. I got to understand the art and the science, and then with that, I got to figure out where does my skill set fit into that. Okay, so my friend that's doing video stuff, like you have a skill set that, in the right hands, is worth a lot of money. In the wrong hands, it's worth 25 grand a year. Okay, you find a company that's growing, you find the right company, the right person to plug into to come and say, look, I want to make it rain for you. Okay, Brandon Fisher, who started doing video stuff for us 2.5, 3 years ago, he came in and said, look, and I met him, and you know, my brother does video stuff for me, and like we didn't really need another video person, but he came into me and was like, hey, like I want to learn what you're doing. I'll just do video stuff for free for you. I'm like, all right. So we started doing video stuff for free, and did some amazing stuff, and started capturing stories for me, and like he captured Liz Benny's story of her telling her experience with Inner Circle. Like basically, like he didn't come to me as a video guy. He came to me as like, I can capture the story that's going to make your company look a million times better, so you can make it rain. And he captured the story of Liz Benny. We took that video, put it on a website, started driving traffic to it. And that Liz Benny video, I couldn't track it today, but that video's probably made me, I don't know, I would say at least $2 million, if not more. Okay, that video helped me to make it rain. So that video asset to me wasn't worth $25,000 a year. It was worth a heck of a lot more, because it helped me to be able to create customers and convert those customers and get money from those customers, right? Okay, but he didn't come to me as I'm going to be a video guy. He came to me like, let me serve you first. Okay, the best thing about rainmakers is if you're good at what you do, which is why it's important. We talked about earlier, like it's important to get really good at your craft, right? Like that is important. Like become obsessed, like literally become so obsessed with what you do that you become the best in the world at it, right? Or at least the best that person's ever met, right? Like become obsessed with that. Like that's important. And the second thing is like figuring out how to use your skill to make it rain. Becoming obsessed with that connection piece. Like that's the missing key, right? Because then you become an entrepreneur, you own a company, and then you come to a company, and don't come in and like try to negotiate a huge fee for a couple of reasons. Number one, you try to negotiate a huge fee, the first thing you're going to do is you're locking yourself in as a technician. Okay, technicians get paid a salary. Okay, understand that. Like, and so as soon as you negotiate in, you lock yourself in, and then you're there. You come in the other way and say, look, I'm going to work for free, I'm going to make it rain, and then I just want a piece of what I bring to you. Okay, and you bring it that way, and you come in and you help make it rain. Then it's completely different. Jay Abraham, one of the greatest marketing strategic minds of all time, his whole thing, you come to a company, so look, I'm going to come in, I'll work for free, I just want 20% of the increase. You come to a company, you had 40, 50, 60, $100 million in a company, and just took 20% of the increase. Like that's what rainmakers do. That's what salespeople do. You are creating opportunity. You're creating money for them. You're taking a percentage of what you create. Like that's the key, you guys. That's the key. How to be an entrepreneur inside of an organization and have no limit. Okay. Guess who they don't fire in a company? The person that makes it rain. You come to a company and you make it rain. That's it. Like you write your own paycheck from that point forward. Okay. So how do you do that? Number one, immerse yourself in how to in this stuff, in the marketing and sales. Okay, immerse yourself. I would recommend doing it through the podcast, because that's, I think, I'm obsessed with podcasts. It's the best way to have it ring through your mind all the time. I say start at episode number 1 of my podcast, click play, and go until you're done. And then a lot of you guys start over. And again, this is not for my own ego, partially. All right, partially for my ego, but mostly it's for you guys. Okay, and again, if for some reason I talk too fast or I'm annoying or whatever, I don't care. Plug into somebody, plug into Grant Cardone or Gary Vaynerchuk or plug into John Lee Dumas. I don't care. Find some Pat Flynn, whoever you resonate with, plug in and go. And don't unplug. Like every single day, like all your free time, you're driving, you're walking, your bathroom breaks, you should be listening to podcasts, like constantly. Okay, that's going to give you the immersion, because immersion is the only way for you to get the connections of like, whoa, this connects to this, and like you start seeing this big picture. Number 2 is then you need a strategy and a blueprint. Okay, so for each of you guys, there's 2 books I've written. I put in my heart and my soul. I've read thousands of books sold like hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff to be able to figure out like what actually worked and put it into a book you can read in like a day. So read the Expert Secrets book, #1, and then read the .com Secrets book. Expert Secrets teach you the art, .com Secrets teach you the science. Okay? Then you gotta look at what your skill set is and where does that plug into the art and science. You don't have to do everything, but figure out what you are good at. Okay? And then what I would recommend doing, this is kind of the next step of it, is like those who've gone through my certified partner program, we certify people to build sales funnels. The ones that are the most successful, the ones that realize that they're not the best at everything. Henry Kaminsky, one of my buddies, he was in the inner circle for last year. He talked about when he first came in, he was a graphic designer. He's like, I'm a graphic designer. He's like, I came in and he's like, it kind of come back. He didn't say it this way, but it was like similar. Like he understood like art and science. Okay, he's like, I'm really good at graphic design. I don't know all this other stuff. So he started studying it and learning it, and you realize like, look, there's pieces to this. Like if you read .com Secrets and Expert Secrets, you realize like there's pieces, right? And you can go and become an expert at all of it. Or what he said he did is like, I built a Voltron team, and some of you guys, if you're young, you know what Voltron is, you can go Google it, or you may remember Power Rangers might be a better one for you guys. Anyway, there's different versions of it. The Voltron was basically, there were like these 5, and same with Power Rangers, same storyline, probably same everything, but there's 5 people that each had their own superpower, right? And they went out there and they were really good, but then like there'd be some big bad guy that always come and they couldn't defeat him individually, so they had to group together, become Voltron, and all 5 pieces came together, and then they'd go and they'd fight, and then they could come and they could win, right? And so Henry said, he's like, I realized I was a good designer, but I'm bad at strategy, so I had to find a strategy person to partner with. So we partnered with a strategy guy, Dave Arsarno, and then he's like, I need someone who's good at selling, so they partnered with a salesperson. He partnered with 3 or 4 people, and they built this team, this Voltron team, and went out there. Within less than a year, Henry made over $1 million with this little company, right? Because he understood the art. He understood like, we're rainmakers, and I'm good at this piece of it, but I need a couple people together so we can really make it rain. I need someone who can drive traffic, someone to do the sales, someone that can do these things, and I'll do the art. Okay, and he did that. So for you guys, and for my friend looking at this, like after you understand the art and the science, you've immersed yourself, so you're learning all these kind of things, right? Then you buy the Expert Secrets and .com Secrets book, and you read both of those. Now you understand the art and the science of how to make it rain. Now you're looking back, saying, okay, now where do I fit in this? Where, like, what am I passionate about? Like, am I good at the storytelling part? Am I good at the funnels? Am I good at this? Like figure out those pieces, and then you can go to companies and look at that and say, look, like I'm really good at this piece. I can bring this thing to you. Okay, or find a partner, find 2 people, come in and say, look, like we can come and do this thing. Okay, a good example of this, you guys, and I don't normally share these kind of numbers, but I want to just to kind of help, right? So some of you guys have seen the Harmon Brothers videos. Some of you guys know that we are about to launch our Harmon Brothers video, which I'm really excited for. But they did Squatty Potty, Poopery, Chapbooks, Fiber Fix, a whole bunch of great videos, right? And they make these videos, and they're good, right? Really good. They go viral, and they're amazing. But if you look at the whole thing, like, well, actually, let me step back. So, I wanted to hire them to do a video for me, so I messaged them 2 days after they'd actually messaged me, which was kind of funny. And they had this funnel, the Fiber Fix funnel. They said the video went viral, but then the funnel wasn't converting, and they wanted my help. And I was like, funny, I just wanted to email you to see if you do video for us. And as we got on the phone to kind of talk through it, and I was like, in both of us are rainmakers, right? Like they look at that, it's like our videos make it rain. We know what they're worth. And so I was like, well, how much does it cost to create a video? And I was thinking maybe 50, 60 grand or whatever. And you know, with a very straight face, he's like, well, we charge $500,000 up front plus 20% of ad spend. And I was like, what? And he looks at me straight. He's like, he didn't say this in so many words, but in the words of this episode, he said, you know, we know how to make it rain. So that's what we're worth, and that's what we charge. And, you know, a few months later, I wrote him a check. And now they're going to make it rain for us, right? And same thing, they came to me at the Fiber Fix funnel. They're like, hey, we want you to fill Fix funnel. How much does it cost? It's like, well, you can hire someone, and most funnel starts 10 grand, but, you know, for me, it's $250,000. And he's like, whoa, why are you so expensive? And I was like, well, I know how to make it rain. Okay, and so then they did their deal, right? Like, because it worked, right? And so, and then as I went with the Harmon Brothers and we did the video, I could spend the most amazing experience. I can't wait to show you guys the whole behind the scenes video. There's some clips on Funnel Hacker TV. You can see little bits of it here and there. But like, it's amazing. Like, it's not like 2 brothers who do this whole thing, right? Like, it's these guys who started a business, and then when their process is really cool. Like when we hired them, basically they said, okay, we're gonna do a writing retreat, and they found 3 amazing writers to write 3 different scripts for us. So we go to this cabin, and they had 3 writers come, and each writer reads their script. Each script was like insanely amazing, right? But 3 different comedic scripts. And these guys, again, are writers that they hired. They're sketch comedy writers. So they each wrote 3, and then they came back and said, okay, which 3 do you like? The 3 which you like the best. So we picked one we liked the best, and they said, okay, so all 3 guys, and then took those 3. This is this cabin. We went back, and all 3 of them went, and then they took the best script, and they took all the jokes, and weaved in all the best jokes, and they wrote a new script, and came back and showed it to us again. And it was even more funny, and then they went back and forth for 2 days to write the script. Then after we had the script approved, then they went, and then they said, okay, well, for the script to happen, we have to have props. So they hired someone to build stages, and they needed videos, and they hired video people, and they needed this. They hired all these people to make this amazing thing. And I last weekend went and filmed it, and then hopefully we're about a little ways away from launching it. But again, with them, it wasn't just them. Like, they had built a Voltron team of people who could go and execute to make it rain. Okay, so you have to start understanding that. Like again, come back to where we start. Like, hierarchy of business, right? There's the entrepreneur. The entrepreneur's there. They are obsessed with getting the message out about their thing. Not about the thing, but about getting the thing into other people's hands. That's why I love entrepreneurs, because they're tied in this whole marketing thing. Like, good entrepreneurs are obsessed with the marketing and selling of the thing. Okay? They are like the ultimate rainmaker. Okay? Number 2 is the technicians who do the thing, which are essential to the business. But again, you've got a cap, right? But you're a commodity. So understand that there's a cap and you're a commodity, but you're in there, right? And you're gonna have a good, typically secure financial thing, like all those kind of things. Like, you get security, you get things like that, but you're not gonna have like unlimited income. And then you got the rainmakers. Okay, so for you guys, it's understanding what a rainmaker does and what it is, and how the process works, and figuring out how to take your skill, your superpower, and uncommoditize yourself. Make you unique. Make yourself rare. Make it so people pay you $500,000 if you make them a 3-minute video. Is that crazy? Okay? So it pays me $250,000 right now to make them a funnel. Okay? For me, not that it takes me that long. I just know what order the pages need to go and what messages in each page. I know how to make it rain. I've been obsessed with this thing for over a decade. Okay? So for you guys, it's like, it's time to become obsessed. Become obsessed in your own company. And if you're the entrepreneur in your company listening to this, okay, become obsessed. Okay, you've got to be the lead rainmaker. Okay, find the technicians, plug in the right people, and like I always say, find A players, not B. A players are 3,200 times more effective than the B players. Find A player technicians, pay them well, because you don't want to go find other technicians. Like, plug in the best technicians you can find. Okay, and then go find rainmakers. And if you try to like cap rainmakers, they will leave you. But understand that. So you, as an entrepreneur, like, find rainmakers and give them the ability to have unlimited ceilings in their income. Because if they do that, again, our rainmaker is just an entrepreneur who, for whatever reason, life circumstances, isn't able to go out on their own and do it, which is totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, if it wasn't for all the entrepreneurs in my business, like, our company is like 99% entrepreneurs. Like, if it wasn't for my entrepreneurs, we would not be where we are today. Okay, and I try to like create our businesses in ways that people can grow and have unlimited earning potential. It's like that's the key. And then for you guys listening, who that's you, and you're maybe you're stuck in a technician role, or you want more, or you're in this thing where you're like, you want to be an entrepreneur but you can't, or whatever. Like, this is where to focus on: learning how to make it rain, and then building a team around you, finding people, finding other pieces, and networking. Not so much like finding jobs, but networking to find people that help you to be able to make it rain. As soon as you have a team, as soon as you personally or your team can do that, you can go to any business on planet Earth and write your own paycheck. Okay, and then it comes down to like picking the right businesses, and that's a whole nother lecture for a whole other day. But because I've seen some funnel consultants who go in and they get paid $10,000 to build a funnel. Other guys get paid $100,000. The only difference is who they're pitching to, right? If somebody is, and it's interesting. I was and I'm not privy to share the details, but the Harmon Brother campaigns, right? Like, if you look at them, one of them was Purple Mattress, which is a $1,000 mattress. Like, because every sale makes them $1,000, that's been one of their most successful campaigns. Chatbooks is an amazing, probably the most viral video they had, but each sale doesn't bring in, the value of each customer is a lot less, and so it's harder to pay to bring, it's harder to continue to make that one rain. And so, and the same thing for all you guys, like if the customer or the client that you're working for, if their average customer value is, you know, $30, like if you're working for a restaurant, like you're making $30, it's not good. But if you're working for a company where each customer is worth $25,000, it's a lot easier to justify what you want to charge people, stuff like that. So, all right, well, it's late. It's almost 1. I got to be up in like 6 hours to go to the water park. So I'm going to end today's podcast, but I hope that helps you kind of look at how business works and understanding that for you to be successful and make money, you have to understand how to make money. You got to learn how to make money. Don't just learn at your skill, because if you do that, you'll become a technician, which is fine if that's where you're happy with. But if you really want financial freedom and wealth and no limits and no ceiling, you want to be able to grow, it comes down to studying money and understanding how it works, and understanding the marketing and the sales. Like getting people in the door and getting their money from them is the most valuable part of any business. I don't care what the hoity-toity doctors tell you. I don't care what, you know, all the people in school and colleges. Like, it's the most dignified, most important role in business. If it wasn't for it, like, business would stop. The economy would stop. And so it's figuring out how to plug in your skill set into that piece of business, because that's where the money's made. And when you're part of the people making the money, it gives you the ability to have a percentage of that. And, yeah. So I hope that helps. So, for my friend who's listening and for everyone else listening, once again, immersion. Get the blueprint. Figure out where your unique abilities and unique talents can plug into that blueprint to make it rain for a company. And when you do that, you got what you need and a whole bunch more. So, hope it helps you guys. Hope it helps, buddy. I won't say your name because, you know, but appreciate you, and hopefully hang out with you someday again. And everybody else, have a good night. Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.
Want more marketing secrets? If so, then go get your copies of my 2 best-selling books. Book number 1 is called Expert Secrets, and you can get a free copy at expertsecrets.com. And book number 2 is called .com Secrets, and you can get your free copy at .comsecrets.com. Inside these 2 books, you'll find my top 35 secrets that we've used to become the fastest growing non-VC-backed SaaS startup company in the world.